Cleveland and Andrew Berry, the GM, and Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, say, why not? You've heard a lot of reports from a lot of different people like, man, Shedeur looks really good in this OTA or really good at that OTA or he's commanding the offense. And now you're going into minicamp. Can Shedeur continue that positive chatter if it's real and get that organization to sit back and say, you know what, why not start him? Why not see what he has this year?
You know that team so well. Would you be shocked if Shadur Sanders was their starting quarterback by Halloween?
Shadour's not going to wow you when you see him throw it or his athletic ability. When the pads get on and you watch him go through his process, he looks like a vet compared to what you typically see out of a rookie. So I suspect that as mini camps go on and once you get into training camp, you're going to start to see real questions of...
Breaking news out of Cleveland. NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky has officially thrown his support behind Shadur Sanders, naming him the absolute starter for the Browns. Orlovsky didn't hold back, stating that all the chatter we've been hearing since OTAs through minicamp and even now points to one clear conclusion: Shadur is the guy. He emphasized that if the reports about Sanders' performance, poise, and command of the offense are even half true, then there's no question in his mind. Shadur Sanders isn't just in the conversation, he's the answer. Cleveland might have just found their franchise quarterback. Dan Orlovsky also took time to break down the technical side of the game, focusing specifically on how Shadur Sanders fits into Kevin Stefanski's offensive system. He explained that Stefanski's scheme relies heavily on precision timing and the ability to operate efficiently under center, and that's exactly where Shedeur shines. Orlovsky highlighted that Shedur's crisp footwork, rapid decision-making, and natural poise in play-action situations are tailor-made for this offense. According to Orlovsky, it's not just about talent, it's about fit, and Shedeur fits Stefanski's vision like a glove. This could be the perfect match Cleveland's been waiting for. From a technical standpoint, Orlovsky said, he's already ahead of where most rookies are, especially when you're asking them to run a Stefanski-style offense. He argued that Shedeur's natural skill set aligns perfectly with what the Browns want to execute offensively. Orlovsky emphasized that it's rare to see a young quarterback so composed and fundamentally sound this early in his NFL journey. He noted that Shedeur's ability to read defenses pre-snap, stay balanced in the pocket, and deliver accurate throws on time gives him a real edge. In Orlovsky's eyes, Shedeur isn't learning the system, he's owning it.
Or 1 to 2 to 3, he's got to do it more quickly, but he's custom made for that. But the way that he thinks and the way that he can see something on the board, take it to a walkthrough, and then bring it to a practice, that's
how you win.
Kimberly A. also weighed in on the conversation, stating that she wouldn't be surprised if Shadur Sanders ends up as the starting quarterback for Cleveland. She pointed to the Browns' daunting schedule this season, suggesting that it wouldn't be shocking to see the team make a bold move early. According to Kimberly, given the level of competition Cleveland will face, it makes sense to go with a quarterback who brings both composure and upside. She even pointed out that over the last 2 seasons, Cleveland has cycled through 9 different quarterbacks, a clear sign of instability at the position. With lingering injury concerns still hanging over the team and Joe Flacco's age becoming a factor, Kimberly argued that the probability of Shadur Sanders starting isn't far-fetched at all. In fact, she believes the Browns may have no choice but to look toward the future. If the goal is long-term consistency and durability, Shedeur might be the most logical and strategic option to take the reins sooner rather than later.
Think about it. Over the last 2 seasons, the Browns have started 9 different quarterbacks. I think injuries in that division could be an issue, and it may pave the way for Shedeur to start.
Andrew Hawkins, former Cleveland Browns wide receiver, had high praise for Shadur Sanders as well. Speaking on the young quarterback's early impact, Hawkins described Shedeur as quite a revelation. He emphasized that what stands out the most is Shedeur's poise under pressure, smart decision-making, and pinpoint accuracy, traits that aren't typically seen in rookie quarterbacks. Hawkins went as far as saying, "He looks like a vet," highlighting just how advanced Shedeur appears in his approach to the game. For Hawkins, it's not just about talent, it's about the maturity and leadership Shedeur is already bringing to the field. Andrew Hawkins didn't mince words when assessing the quarterback situation in Cleveland. He made it clear that in his view, there's no one currently on the roster who matches Shadur Sanders' level of readiness and potential. Hawkins pointed out that Joe Flacco, while experienced, is well past his prime, and Kenny Pickett continues to struggle with consistency, particularly in his throws. That narrows the real competition down to Shadur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. And according to Hawkins, between the two, Shedeur is the obvious and most suitable option to start. He believes the Browns' future should begin now, with Sanders under center.
The audio delays, we're all working the kinks out here at OTAs and minicamp. Shadur Sanders has a real chance to be the starter. And the reason being, there isn't anything going on with the Browns offseason as it pertains to quarterbacks that is super sexy. You know what you get in Joe Flacco. You hope that Kenny Pickett grabs the reins. I don't think Kenny Pickett has done that thus far. So it comes down to Dillon Gabriel and Shadur Sanders.
Peter Schrager also joined the conversation, shedding more light on the growing possibility of Shadur Sanders becoming part of the Browns' first-team offense. Speaking on NFL Network, Schrager revealed that heading into minicamp, there was already a noticeable buzz surrounding Shedeur, whispers that he's that good, and that everything seems to be aligning perfectly for him. Schrager emphasized that the quarterback job in Cleveland is wide open, with no definitive starter locked in. This uncertainty, he noted, gives Sanders a very real and legitimate shot to rise to the top and potentially take command of the offense by Week 1. According to Schrager, Shadur Sanders might actually be the best positioned quarterback on the Browns roster right now. However, he was quick to clarify that this won't be a rushed decision by the coaching staff. This isn't something that gets figured out in June or even in July, Schrager noted. It's going to stretch into August. That extended timeline, he explained, gives Shedeur ample opportunity to keep making his case. With every rep and every snap, Sanders has the chance to solidify his role. And if he continues to build on this momentum, Schrager says don't be shocked if he's the Week 1 starter. Orlovsky directly called out GM Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski, asking, "Isn't the chatter real?" He pressed them to confront the growing momentum and buzz surrounding Shedeur, demanding answers to the question fans and analysts alike are now asking, why not start Shadur Sanders?
What is your sense right now of Shadur Sanders in Cleveland?
Is the chatter real? And that's my question. And can you make Cleveland and Andrew Berry, the GM, and Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, say, why not? You've heard a lot of reports from a lot of different people like, man, Shedeur looks really good in this OTA or really good at that OTA or he's commanding the offense. And now you're going into minicamp. Can Shedeur continue that positive chatter if it's real and get that organization to sit back and say, you know what, why not start it?
Dan Orlovsky lit the fire, and now the entire football world is watching. By directly calling out Browns GM Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski, Orlovsky didn't just support Shadur Sanders, he demanded accountability. "Isn't the chatter real?" he asked, amplifying what's become a growing chorus of voices advocating for Sanders to start. Analysts like Kimberly A. highlighted the Browns' brutal schedule and their recent instability at quarterback, cycling through 9 QBs in just 2 seasons. With Joe Flacco aging and Kenny Pickett struggling with consistency, the argument for Shedeur becomes stronger by the day. Andrew Hawkins, a former Browns player, praised Shadeur's poise and precision, even calling him a vet in terms of maturity and readiness. He boldly declared that no one else on the roster matches Shadeur's level. Peter Schrager added fuel to the fire, revealing that the buzz surrounding Shedeur is legitimate and the job is wide open. He made it clear this battle will stretch into August, giving Sanders every chance to prove himself. With his footwork, football IQ, and composure already turning heads, the question now isn't if Shadur Sanders will start, it's when. And for many, Week 1 no longer feels out of reach, it feels inevitable. But what do you think about all this? Do you agree with Dan Orlovsky that Shadur Sanders should be the Browns' Week 1 starter? Is the buzz from minicamp and OTAs enough to justify handing him the keys this early? With Joe Flacco's age and Kenny Pickett's inconsistency, is Shedeur truly the best option right now? Do you think Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are playing it safe, or are they holding back a rising star? And with analysts like Kimberly A., Andrew Hawkins, and Peter Schrager all backing him, do you believe Shedeur is ready to lead an NFL offense?